Welcome to the Inglorious Blasters podcast, the Star Wars Legion podcast talking anything and everything glorious or inglorious about the game. My name is Koray, and with me today is someone who's not a blurg in the mud, Brendan. How's it going, my dude?
I could be a blurg in the mud. You don't know that.
You could, but according to Wikipedia, the definition is a dull person who avoids trying new things. So you're definitely not a blurg in the mud.
Okay, outside of Legion, I am a blurg in the mud.
Okay, so then it's also saying similar to the real world noun stick in the mud. So you're saying you're a stick in the mud?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Well, welcome to the show, everyone. We got a fun show for you today. PAX just happened, so we're gonna talk about our games. We're gonna talk about all the fun we had and stuff like that. But before we begin, I'd like to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors of the podcast. We got Baron of Dice. Check out BaronofDice.com, his Faraway Galaxy collection for all your Star Wars Legion dice needs. He's got everything from the vehicle damage die to different colored sets of dice for your different factions. Check them out. They look really cool. Use checkout code Glorious for a little bit of a discount. Brendan, what do I do if I want to print out some cool terrain, but I do not have a 3D printer?
Then you should go to Panhandle 3D Etsy store, get some awesomely printed 3D terrain, and you don't have to go through all the fuss of trying to figure out how to keep your 3D printer up and running, because mine is continuing to give me some fits. It would be a lot easier if I just paid somebody else to do it for me.
I'm kind of right there with you right now.
Yeah, so
mine's acting up.
Panhandle 3D and use the code Glorious for a 15% discount.
Nice, excellent. Well, those of you who have noticed, John is also not here today. I should have probably said that at the beginning, but you know what? I've got like the best solution ever to like dice falling all over the game table. It's called the dice tray. It's called the dice tray. I just figured it out, guys. So if you go to the Dice Must Flow on Etsy and you use our checkout code IG Blaster, you can get yourself a really, really cool looking dice tray. They can do a whole bunch of different printings on it. Go check it out. We use it for our dice trays. They look amazing. Again, the code is IG Blaster. So we got a couple of upcoming tournaments that we want to highlight real quick. So we got LVO. It is January 18th to 21st. If you can go, there you go. We also got Da Boys, the Golden Sprue in Schenectady. I believe that's Schenectady, New York.
That is New
York. I have no idea how to pronounce it. But
I don't know how to
that's
spell
my
it.
Best. Yeah, there you go. I don't think anyone does. So that's January 27th, and then 27th and 28th, right? It's a 2-day event. Evan Bulris is running that. Should be a good time if you can go make it. January 6th, there is going to be an Epic Store Championship in South New Jersey. Shipwreck Games and Trotta Hobbies are like doing a combined effort for this one. And I believe Nick is running this one. I think.
I know it'll be his terrain.
It'll be his terrain. Got it. Okay. Yeah, so go check that out. It is in Barnegat, New Jersey. Registration is $30. Stores open at 9 a.m. and it starts at 10. And then I believe they have 2 Worlds Invite as well. So if you're still looking for one, that's the place to go.
Yeah, and don't go to either of the stores. They're holding it at the Mariners Lodge. Make sure you check out the game uplink. It'll have more information on where you're going. So since it's a 2 stores thing, they're going to a neutral location to play.
And yeah, do not go to their store. Go to Mariners Lodge. Look it up. There you go. Well, with that out of the way, let's talk about PAX. PAX. Well, PAX is one of my favorite conventions. I love board games, and I also love Legion, so it's going to be a great time, obviously. And this time was no different than all the others. I had a blast. How about you, Brendan?
I also had a lot of fun. I didn't get to see any of the convention for the 3rd year running, but I go for the Legion, so I don't feel too bad about that.
That's fair. Well, how about you? Do you want to start? What did you run? How did you feel about it? And maybe walk us through some of your games.
Sure. So, the listeners know I've been on a little bit of a lat kick.
Little bit,
yeah.
It's like a lot of it.
So I decided to keep going that route. And I did a little bit of waffling heading up to PAX. But so I went, you know what? Everybody had a real kick out of my Santa Vader last year. So I want to make sure I include my Santa Vader for PAX this year. So I threw Vader into the list with a lat. And I had so much fun with the Myrtleizer, I threw Myrtleizer into this list also. So, yeah, my list is crazy. So, I named the list in honor of my Santa Darth Vader. Santa has helpers, so the presents won't be lat. It's 798 points and 8 activations. So, it's Operative Darth Vader with Force Push, Burst of Speed into the fray, and Seize the Initiative. Stormtroopers with an HH-12, 2 Shore Troopers with T-21Bs, 2 Mortars, the Dark Troopers with the Myrtleizer and the Frag Launcher, and the Lat with Governor Price for my Field Commander for the Army. Let's just say this is a lot of fun. Maybe with a lot of practice, this could be a really good list, but I will tell you, this is just a really, really fun list.
Nice. You got 2 fun melee threats coming right at them.
Oh, yeah. So, my first game was awesome. I got to play on the really cool Ferrix table, and I got to play Scott. And we ended up playing key positions, hemmed in, and limited visibility. Scott was running a Anakin 501st list. And so one thing I love to do is just suppress people. That's a little harder to do on an all Courage 2 army. But we had a lot of fun. My army was just getting murdered. So by the end of the game, I lost 614 points. I had only killed 76 points of Scott's. But we ended up tying on objective. I would have won if not for the final roll of the game. Vader needed one more block and he just refused. So that's how we ended up tying on key positions.
Oh.
It was a really nice play. I went with Vader's Might on turn 6. I was able to force push his Anakin so that his Anakin was now too far away and couldn't get into the center and use force push to have any kind of impact. And then I Vader's Mighted another one of his units so that it was now too far away to double move and touch the middle point. So he was only able to get one unit to the middle. I was able to get another unit to the middle. And then Vader was able to get to the middle. But then Vader just couldn't tank, like one decent shot.
Oh, got it. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating when your one focus piece just doesn't make like enough saves.
Yeah. I mean, he'd taken a few wounds at that point, so it's not surprising. But he had like 3 wounds left, and I needed him to just, roll one extra save on that last attack. And he decided, nah, not this game. So, it was a lot of fun. We had a great time.
Good.
Scott was a great guy to play with. I'd be happy to play with him again.
Nice.
How about your first game, Koray?
My first game was great, but first,
what you play?
I'll tell the listeners what I played. I played Experimental Droids. I'm pretty up on them right now. I think they're a lot of fun. I think they got something going for them. And the more I play them, the more I see how ridiculous they are. So I came into this wanting to make droidicas look good. And I may or may not have done that, but I will probably flip-flop towards the future. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So what I'm running is 798 points, 10 activations. I'm running Kalani with Aggressive Tactics, Comms Relay. I'm running a B2 Naked, a B2 with the Ha. And then I'm running 2 Battle Droids. Both have the PK Worker Droid and Electro Binoculars. And then I'm running 2 BX Series Commandos. They both have Shields, Offensive Push, and the Sniper. I'm running 1 Droidica with nothing, and then 2 other Droidicas with Link Targeting Array. So I put a 2-point bid in to hopefully get blue player most of the time, and that was pretty much true most of my games, which was nice. I got all the deployments that I wanted and objectives, so that was nice. First game I played was more of a teaching game, to be honest. My opponent was not like the most savvy on the rules, which I'm totally okay with. So I played against Joseph. He was a really awesome retired Army vet, and he was just a joy to play against, right? So he's just there to learn, and he knew some rules incorrectly / taught incorrectly. So I was trying to self-correct. So we basically played a game of payload, and I taught him how that objective works, and then how to use his clones. He was using Obi-Wan, Padme, a couple Arc Strike teams, and then just some regular like phase 2s. So he had like 8 activations. I think he had Echo Strike team in there. But anyways, I was just basically teaching him how all of his units work, and then like how to use actions in the game. It was fine. We had a great time. And then, it felt good because he kept, I kept asking him like, hey, like if this is too much, like me teaching you, let me know. He's like, no, I want to learn. Like, please tell me. I was like, okay, you got it, man. So nice. I just taught him the game for like 2.5 hours.
That's always good.
Yeah, that's always good. So, I mean, he put his units out, out in places where they shouldn't be. And, like I'm going to let him make the moves that he wants to do. Right. So I'm not going to like fully tell him like, like that's bad. Right. I'm going to let him like play how he wants to. So anyways, we ended the game. It was like 1-0. He had a great time, and he was able to use like the knowledge of how fire support works in his other games. So he was very thankful for that. So he got to use that moving forward. Nice. So that was good. It was a good game 1, right? Just like just a friendly face and just hanging out. Game 2 was also another friendly face. I played against Matthew. So Matt and I, we square up, and it's another Republic list.
Oh, shocker.
Shocker.
For those who don't know, Republic was the popular faction by a lot.
Yes. Man, there was so much Republic. I fought nothing but Republic on day 1, so the first 4 games.
Oh, only half my games were against the Republic. Well, half my day 1 games were against the Republic.
Oh, you would be so lucky.
I was pretty lucky.
So he's like a listener of the show, and I've been wanting to play him for a while. He's been to a couple of different events, right? So he's playing all the hotness right now, which is like Yoda, Padme, arcs. So I was like, oh, here's the boogeyman, right? Here's the big meta boogeyman. Yeah, I mean, we get to the table, and I'm blue. We landed on payload Dendroclose minefield. He scouted up all of his like arcs too far, essentially, to where they would get shot. And so I got shots, turn 1, and I killed the full arc, and then I almost killed something else. I think it was a strike team or another full arc. I can't really remember. But basically, we don't gotta talk about it. Matt and I talked about it beforehand, but round 2 didn't happen.
Ooh.
we just kind of called it. He said his game plan went out the window. The mines were particularly not nice to him. Oh. One of them double detonated, and he missed like 3 saves on them. I was like, oh god, this is not good.
Rough.
Yeah, so that in combination with losing like 2x right off the bat was not great. But you know what? We had a great time chit-chatting, hanging out.
Nice.
There you go. Brendan, how'd your game 2 go?
My game 2 probably went worse than Matt's game 2.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, the Republic Boogeyman showed up again, this time in the form of Richard playing Anakin Pikes. My list doesn't really have all that much firepower to deal with Pikes, much less clones. So we ended up playing key positions, advanced positions, and limited viz, which is,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good for you.
Pretty good for me, but I wanted to run in there and murder things. So that's exactly what I tried to do. Turn 1, I get the darks out of the lat after just a single move from the lat, and then Anakin decides to move up and do on turn 2, he does a saber throw fire support with an RPS and I lose 6 wounds of my darks in 1 attack. That went great.
Ooh.
However,
you still got the Myrtleizer.
I still have the Myrtleizer. And let me tell you, the rest of the game was just me trying to have fun with the Myrtleizer to finish off 1 Pike squad. I was able to successfully Myrtleize that Pike squad. So
nice.
That was the 1 unit I ended up killing. Meanwhile, Richard decided he didn't like my models and wiped them all off the table. So
right.
My final model to die was actually the leader for the Dark Troopers, even though they'd lost 6 wounds.
Damn.
In turn
That's
2.
crushing. That's crushing.
It was kind of amazing. He could have killed it sooner, but he decided to do a saber throw when they had 3 wounds left, and he only got 2 hits. So it was left on 1 wound. And so I believe it was his phase 2s ended up punching it to death.
Nice.
So that was a lot of fun. So you got
tabled on that one?
I got tabled. But man, it was fun.
Damn, man.
That was the most entertaining tabling I have ever experienced. And also the first time I've been tabled. So
first time for everything. Right?
Oh man, it was so entertaining though. At
Nice.
one we had Anakin and Vader in a epic duel on top of an Imperial transport. It was really fun.
Nice. That's fun.
Game 3, I get to finally face something I'm more comfortable up against. I got to play Jansen, who's another great guy to play. And Jansen was running a double bounty list with IG-88, Boba. He had Callus in there. 3 snipers. All shoreline. Good stuff.
Yeah.
We ended up on recover the supplies, advanced positions, and clear conditions. This was after the lunch break, and during the lunch break, Koray and I were talking a little bit, and I said, you know what? Yes. If I get advanced positions in a game, I'm going to use Darkness Descends to infiltrate Vader.
I remember this talk. It happened immediately after the next game.
Yep. So that's exactly what I did for this game. Because with advanced positions, for those of you who completely skip the rest of the Darkness Descends card, you get to infiltrate Vader, and he gets Scout 1. But on advanced positions, it becomes Scout 2. So you're getting a Darth Vader at just about range 2, potentially, from enemy units. And with Burst of Speed, you can easily get into melee. So it is a scary place for Vader to be for people who don't necessarily have the best answer for Vader. Not to mention we're playing Recover the Supplies.
Ooh.
And so I put Vader down. I get Vader to a safe spot with the Infiltrate plus Scout. Vader ends up taking 1 shot. And then I go with Vader because there's nobody nearby who's going to be able to threaten Vader beyond that first shot. All Vader took was a suppression. He moves up and he does a force throw and he hits a strike team, does 1 wound to them. The second turn he does it again to a full team and wipes a full team with the force throw. So that was a lot of fun. But the real fun came in the fact that I was able to claim the center box on the first turn because the lat moved up, the Darks got out, and then they claimed the box.
And then they grabbed the box. Excellent.
And then from there, it was just, all right, the Darks are running away with the box. The rest of my army's sitting back pretty with my other 2 boxes. And I'm just shooting things as they get too close. Meanwhile, Vader's run back to make sure that the other 2 boxes can't be claimed. And he's just murdering things that get too close. I end up losing the lat and one of my mortars in the fight. And I end up winning the game 3-0.
Oh, damn. You mean man.
Yeah.
You didn't let him grab any boxes.
No, he had one box. He was able to claim one of the boxes, and then Vader killed that unit, and then just didn't let anybody else get near it. And Vader didn't take the time to claim it himself. And then he moved his other unit back towards Vader, and then Vader went after that unit and wiped it out, so that he had no boxes at the end of the game.
Gotcha.
But Jensen was a great guy to play with, and I loved seeing Callus on the table, so I was very happy about that.
Awesome. Well done, sir.
How was your third game, Koray?
My third game was against Sam McHenry. So that's the winner of PAX, and didn't go great for me. But that's okay. So Sam, I played Sam the last couple tournaments, and I can't punch through him. He's running like the clone scummy stuff, right? All the defensive tech. So he's got Boyle, he's got Barrier, he's got Anakin and Padme and Pikes, right? And then he's got the Phase 1 captains with situational awareness, so you can dodge crits. It's like a bunch of defensive tech, and it's all range 4. His whole gun line's range 4. So it's just very annoying and frustrating to deal with, like on the other side of the table. So I'm blue player. We land on Breakthrough, Danger Close, Supply Drop. I have 10x. He has 8. And then he divulges Padme's 3-pip to give her a secret mission to be essentially a 9th point for him on Breakthrough. So it's frustrating because in my head, I should have just went towards the right because we basically played battle lines and just shot. When instead, hindsight's 2020, I should have just moved all my stuff to the right towards his deployment zone on Danger Close, right? Because we deployed across from one another. I was up on X, but the way I deployed, I was more confident in Sam coming in to pick off an opponent, or I'm sorry, pick off a unit and then go score. Sam's a good player, so I figured he was going to try and, obviously he's on the offensive here. So I tried to be on the offensive as well to maybe catch him off guard. My BXs did some work. I did some what we learned to lovingly call aggressive peekaboo style, which is go, have orders on them turn 1 and then just give a bunch of aims and have at least 4 aims for turn 1 shooting. It's a pretty gross shot, right? You can get a high volume of dice, a high number of hits, right? Mm-hmm. Along with Pierce 1, which is good. So the shots are incoming, and then I almost take down a Phase 1 unit. I'm so close. I think he had a medic in there and he healed one back, and then Boyle's doing crazy work. He's got Barrier. I'm chewing through dodges. The Phase 1 almost goes down, and I have a chance to kill it. Turn 2, I don't get to kill it, and then he activates the captain. The captain, obviously lets him ignore suppression, so he gets 2 actions and just basically smartly runs away. I'm like, okay, well, now I'm dead because he killed a droideka. I'm like, well, that was not a good trade. No, that was not a great trade. He killed the one without link targeting, right? So he got 70 points off that. And then I was like, well, now I'm down, so now I have to just continue playing battle lines and just try and pick something else off. But it didn't go well. I spent all my shots on on that one Phase 1. Again, I didn't really like the terrain setup for me just moving to the right. I felt like he was more at an advantage where he would get open shots on me. So that's kind of why I was iffy about just moving my dudes, because I had the act advantage. I should have just done that and just made him come to me anyways. But moving along, that's my first loss against Sam. He's a great player. Yeah, so we end the game where I score 8 and he scores 9, and them's the breaks. Mm-hmm. What about you, Brendan? How was your 4th game?
My 4th game is probably the shortest game of Legion I've ever played.
Oh
no! 4 games in a day does not make for good decision making.
4 games is tough.
So I end up playing Jason. Jason and I have played a few times before. and we end up on key positions, advanced positions, and rapid reinforcements. I guess I got a little cocky from the previous game, and I divulged Vader's card again and infiltrated with him.
Yep.
And Jason was playing Mall Pikes. I thought I had gotten Vader into a nice and safe location after going with him, so he couldn't be shot. Turns out he was just close enough that he was able to be force pushed by Maul to be, in line of sight for a bunch of Pike units that he'd already then, by the point he went with Maul, had set up with standbys. And Vader goes down on turn 1. And then before the end of turn 2, my Darks are on their last 2 wounds. And the rest of my list can't do anything to all the dodges with those Pikes.
You lost all your tricks. Yeah.
So I conceded at that point, and gave Jason the win. I mean, he's a great player. I was probably going to lose either way, just because this list doesn't have enough to deal with all those dodges.
It's a lot.
So, I mean, I lost. Yeah, I learned. Yeah.
Keep Vader safe. Yep. Maul's a scary man.
Maul's scary. But at least my day was done with game 4. Not what I was looking for day 1. Going 1-3. But I mean, I had fun all the games, and I definitely learned. I mean, don't let tired make you not measure where things are. So
yeah, always be measuring, right, even on your opponent's turns. Obviously don't get in their way, but you can measure your own stuff, you can measure some of their stuff. I don't think it's worth giving up that knowledge for yourself to know exactly where stuff is, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's important. It's all right. Well, so my 4th game of the day, I played against Graham, Canadian Bear. So I've been to a couple tournaments where he's at, and we just keep dodging each other, right? That's kind of the theme of this weekend for me. I got to play a bunch of players that I never got to play before, so I had a ton of fun in that respect.
Always fun.
Graham's a cool dude. We had a lot of fun. He was playing the Gar Menace, right? He was playing Yoda, no Padme, and 2 Shooty Wookiees. Take a look at that, Shooty Wookiees.
Nice.
So he was playing that list, and I think it was like 8 acts. I'm blue player. We landed on Payload, Battle Lines, and Minefield. I very much appreciated Battle Lines in terms of deployment on my 4th game, because my brain was shot. I was so tired. So we played on like a not imperial, but like we played on like a industrial. That's the word. Industrial city building layout. There's lots of like height 2 buildings. There's lots of height 1 buildings. There's a bunch of stairs and cars and like gantries and stuff like that. So a lot of cool like building style stuff. And there's like lots of places for all my stuff to hide. I used scale to great effect with my BXs. So I hid them behind a height 2 building, and I scaled them right up because they could just climb up to that point, right? Mm-hmm. The only time I've ever used scale usefully. All throughout the weekend, I did this. I did this like I don't want to say it's a trick, but that's just how this list functions. Mainly in order to fight all the Gar and stuff, I wanted to pump enough aims into both BXs in order for their shots to have like somewhere in the realm of 6 to 9 hits, right? So both of my B1s are feeding aims, and then Kalani's feeding aims, and then they have O push. So I'm getting like tons of aims, and then I'm like trying to delete one thing, right? So then I delete Echo pretty quickly. So then he responds, he kills a Droideka. So then I'm like down on points. So and I believe both of our carts are going to make it, at least score 1 point. So I'm like, okay, I definitely got to kill stuff. So I start hammering a Wookiee squad that like moves up using the Yoda 2 pip where it gives them like relentless, right? I don't get to kill that squad, but I at least get it down to 2 models. So that's something. And then I think it was turn 3 or turn 4, something like that. he moves Yoda out into a position where I could see he's trying to make a play because he's tired of these BXs, like, climbing this building, shooting, and then climbing back down and hiding, right? Because every time he would do wounds, I would heal them right back. So he puts Yoda out in like a precarious spot, and I'm like, oh, here we go. So then like Kalani orbital strikes, and then a Droideka shoots, and then like a BX squad shoots, and then like I'm able to down the green frog, right? So after that, it was like kind of downhill for him. We both knew the carts would score, and then I was able to just continue to pick off more stuff, right? I think a clone squad went down. I think it was Boyles, but I don't remember at this point. I eventually killed that 2-man Wookiee squad, and then again, it didn't really look good, so we called it there. We scored 1-1, and I definitely won on kill points. I got like 406 to like my 150.
Nice.
But yeah, Graham was a great player. Good dude, had a lot of fun. Brendan, how'd your 5th game go? Day 2.
Day 2. Game 5.
Hopefully feeling refreshed.
I'm feeling a little bit more refreshed. I slept pretty good. And Game Uplink decides that I should play Jensen again, who I had played Game 3 the day before.
Oh no!
I went, no, thank you, sir. And so I found Nick, and Nick gave us a different pairing because we had played the day before. And I now get paired with a man after my own heart, Jacob. Because Jacob also brought a lat.
I know this battle.
Jacob was the only other player to play a lat, and we get paired to play. I mean, it was the lat off. It was perfect.
It's your destiny.
It was destiny. So yeah. Jacob was playing General Veers, Bosk, 3 Stormtroopers, 2 Death Troopers, and the lat. And nice. We had a whole lot of fun in this game. We ended up playing Payload, Major Offensive, and Minefield. So
nice.
Jacob's a newer player. It was his first tournament. He couldn't have been a better opponent. He was very appreciative to learn things about the game because he'd only ever really played with one guy before doing this.
Oh, good.
So I was happy to explain things to him as they were happening or even ahead of time, as we were playing. It was a lot of fun. I do feel bad about how the game went because I tabled him and I lost nothing.
You mean man.
Yeah. To be fair, we put it in as a table because we knew it would be, but we got to the end of turn 4, and all he had left was his lat with no wounds on it.
Oh, that's gonna go down eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
I have enough firepower to do that.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that his lat was the only thing standing. He was very appreciative of that fact.
Gotcha.
We had a great talk after the game, sharing lat ideas, and I gave him some feedback on his lat build. His lat was a little bit in both worlds. It wanted to be a gunship and a transport. Personally, I think it's got to be one or the other if you want it to have any level of success. So I end up winning 3-0 on Payload. It was a bloodbath, and I feel bad, but he had a great gun line. It just wasn't ready for myrtleizing and candy canes.
Yeah. No, not at all.
No.
Well,
the worst.
That's a good time.
Before you get into your game, I have to say, as much as I complain about my red defense dice, his were worse. I literally took 3 ranged 4 shots at his Veers. And between those 3 shots, I got 5 crits. And he rolled 0 blocks on his 3 different rolls of 2 or less dice. So Veers died without rolling a block.
That's not great.
No, I felt so terrible.
That's awful.
I really hope in his next game or in a bunch of games to come, his dice just treat him better.
I hope so too.
I did as a
you could try
consolation
burning them, and you could try getting rid of them. Right. You could try buying new ones.
Buy new dice, in the hopes of increasing his chances and good mojo. I did give him a set of Inglorious Blasters card sleeves because he brought the lat.
Nice.
So
yeah.
He deserved it for bringing a lat.
He deserves it for that inglorious vehicle.
It is a glorious vehicle, sir.
All right, sure. Well, while you were off having a lat off, I was busy fighting for my life against a Tempest Force. So I fought against Matt Hall. He was running Tempest Force with two ATSTs, 5 scouts with snipers, and then like an officer and a storm with like a repair bot, right? So I'm already shivering because if people were paying attention, I only have Impact 2. So I should have a very difficult time killing these ATSTs. Mm-hmm. So I'm blue player. The way it shakes out is Recover, Hemmed In, and War Weary. So this was key to like me even having a chance. So on the top line of the objectives, I believe it was Breakthrough, Payload, and then it was Bombing Run, Recover. Recover's in the last spot. I'm like, all right, I'd like to play Bombing Run, so I'm just gonna use both of my bands to that. I was like, if we play Recover, that's like the best case scenario, because he's got less stuff to pick it up, and then he's only got 8 acts to my 10. My BXs are fast, and I don't know if he used a ban on a deployment, but we kept on Hemmed In, right? So I know he's got scouts. His whole army scouts, so it doesn't super matter. But like me being Hemmed In as blue on Recover made it like extremely easy for like my BXs to get there. So there's also not a lot of tall line of sight blocking on my side of the table. He smartly picked the side that has all the tall stuff.
Makes sense.
To hide behind. So I was like, all right, well, he gave me a chance. He did not want to play Bombing Run, so we went to Recover. So my only chance in this game is if I can claim the center box and then go run with it and just hold on to it for dear life, right? As long as he doesn't delete activations like every time he shoots, I should be okay. And so what I did was I played the card where I get to divulge, and then I get to bring in reinforcements. So Kalani has reinforcements. I did it on the 2 BXs, and then I did it on like a Droideka just because I wanted to see where his stuff was going. Right, he deployed all his scouts to the left hand side of the board, where his boxes were, and then I deployed all my stuff towards the right hand side of the board, which is where my boxes are. So we're just mainly fighting over the center one, right, as you should be, and then I scout up my BXs right, basically, so I could take a speed 2 move and then claim it. I set it up so that both of them can do it, right? So I'm hoping that in heavy cover, well, heavy didn't matter because he had the blast gun, so no cover, and I knew he was gonna use it. Mm-hmm. So hopefully the 2 shields and like the dodge I gave them would like be enough, and then the red saves. Oh, and then I also gave him a surge from aggressive tactics. Hopefully that's enough to just keep him alive. Turns out his dice were very, very cold for like basically the whole game for his ATST. Even with aims, he marches up there, chucks 8 dice, and he's like, okay, 4. And I was like, oh, that's not exactly great for an
ATST.
No, not at all. Those scary, it's supposed to be scary, right? It should be 7, at least with an aim.
Right.
I have to do the math again, but it should be higher, right? So the BXs just kind of use both shields and use a dodge, and then they make a roll, and they're fine. And then they live through it, right? They live through them. Like, this is great. So I go claim the box, and then turn 2. What I do is I play 1 pip, and I toss back I played the super tack 1 pip, so that one he has to toss back one of his orders, so I make him toss back his other ATST, So he has to like go ahead and fish for that one. So I'm only getting shot once by like Marquand, like, in the meantime. So I have some time to repair it. And then I make him go with like a stormtrooper, like on his first pull. So like I'm being very mean, right?
Right.
So I just speed 3 and I speed 2. Absolutely. I speed 3, speed 2, move away. And then like, he's trying to use his ATSTs to move forward to go shoot them. It just, again, no real paint's happening. It's just not. And then I use my droidicas to go block the ATSTs moving forward, which has turned out to be like amazing. I basically sacrificed one of my droidicas. I'm like, here, you eat the melee attack. I literally pushed right up against it. I'm like, here, just eat the melee attack.
Nice.
My droidica goes down, but that's okay.
It's okay.
But anyways, I was able to like, I was able to like clinch this one out because apparently my B1s rolled nothing but crits. My BXs couldn't find a crit to save their life.
Haven't you seen our logo?
Yeah. Yes. It's very inglorious.
Well, the E5 only does crits. That's what it does.
It only does crits. Those are the best units. I think they rolled like 7 crits. Also, his defense dice couldn't find pain at all on any of the ATSTs. So I felt kind of bad. But this was the only way for me to like win that matchup, I think, right? Go to recover, grab it, and run the hell away, right? So I killed both ATSTs and I think a scout and and the stormtrooper squad. So end of the game, it was 3-2. There you go, not bad. Brendan, how was your game?
Game 6. I finally get to play something a little different, which I'm very happy about. I get to play Rocky, and he's running a
nice
CIS list with the good general himself. 2 Magna Guard with no upgrades on them. 2...
Oh, is that General Grievous?
Yeah. Grievous. Yeah. 2 Magna Guard with no upgrades. 2 B1s with worker droids. And 4 B2s, T-Series, and Haas.
Ooh.
This is a list that I was not ready to see, never expected to see, and loved seeing. And so we ended up, again, so just so people know, I took a 2-point bid. I was blue every game without having to...
Same. Like, pretty much same, yeah.
We ended up doing rapid reinforcements, advanced positions, and hostage exchange. So,
nice.
I did it
do again. Did you? Yes, I was going to say, you did it again. Hell yeah.
So I infiltrated with Vader, and I chose my darks for my rapid reinforcement.
Yeah.
My stormtroopers were my hostage unit. The game, he goes with a B2 squad, and he's able to get a range 3 shot off on Vader. Vader takes just a suppression out of the attack. I'm then able to burst of speed and force push to get Vader up against a building with this full squad around him, so Vader's completely safe for the rest of the turn. On turn 1. So nice. Vader's already engaged. Turn 1. It's great.
Fantastic.
With my hostage unit, I decide I'm not going to move twice, as is tradition. I'm going to take a shot at Grievous and then run. So I get...
Okay.
I think I got 1 wound on Grievous off that shot. Not anything amazing. But, every little bit helps on an 8 wound unit. My stormtroopers then die turn 2 because Grievous just goes in there and murders them to death.
Yeah.
And so I lose my hostage. The other hostage is running away into the wilderness. And my darks are slowly moving up. They are within the 2 activations away now from being able to get close enough to touch. Turn 3, I would play Vader's Might. I'm able to Vader's Might the unit that has the hostage into my Dark Trooper so they don't have to keep moving towards it.
That's fun. I like that.
And then we play a little bit of tag for a while. Like it's, oh, well, that unit's just left is withdrawing from the Dark Troopers. And then the next turn I get to go with Vader again. And I go, our force post backed in with the Dark Troopers. What it really came down to was on turn 5, which it was honestly, I hadn't thought about it before, and it was a great play. So it's down to the Dark Troopers. They are just engaged with the T-Series that's left from B2 squad. And that T-Series has the hostage. I end up playing New Ways to Motivate Them. And I put it on the Darks. One of my Darks already had a wound, so I make them just take another wound. I lose a model. So now I'm 2 models out of this squad. And I have them just attack and, myrtleize this T-Series to death. So I'm able to myrtleize it. It dies. And then that was my free action from New Ways. So then I'm able to move and claim the hostage again.
Hell yeah.
And then they still have, and I still haven't gone with Vader yet. So a unit moves into them to try and slow them down. And then I go with Vader and he just force pushes them away. And then I'm able to go with the Darks again. And they just start moving. And that kind of just is how it went. And so I was able to get my hostage back into my deployment zone on turn 6. It was a lot of fun. It was close. We ended up tying 2-2. It felt really close on my side because I wasn't sure if I was going to get the hostage back if it hadn't been for that New Ways play.
Yeah.
And the only unit that he had left was his hostage unit, the B1 squad. So I killed everything else except for that B1 squad.
Oh my!
By the end of the game,
almost tabled.
Dang,
man,
that was a lot of fun. There was just a scrum in the middle of the table. He had his Magna Guard in there. He had Grievous in there. He had at least at any given time 2 to 3 of his B2s all engaged in this scrum with Vader and the Darks.
That's fun.
It was so much fun.
You're able to pull it out, man. That clutch New Ways play.
Clutch play, great opponent, lots of fun, and I'm able to end the tournament at 3-3. So, pretty happy with that.
Nice, not bad for the lat attack.
Yeah,
and Santa's little helpers.
Yep. Can't complain with that. For a little last minute pivot there.
Nice.
How did your final game go?
Well, after using all of my brain power on that last Tempest Force one, because I was like, so scared of it, right? I used all of it on turn 0, all of it during the game, and I was like, all right, I'm exhausted. I'm like, I look at all the other 4 ones, and I'm like, I don't want to play any of you. I don't want to play any of you. Turns out, Ryan Slowoski of Stabcast also felt the same way. I don't want to play any of you. So we made a gentleman's agreement to push models and let them die. He said, we both have white save armies. Let's just go for it, man. I was like, all right. He beats me on blue player. I think he has a 5-point bid. So we ended up playing his battle deck. The only reason we play his battle deck is because he doesn't even want a chance to land on recover because his list does not do well at recover. I'm like, all right, that makes sense.
That's fair.
Makes sense to me. He is running Echo-based defenders. It's a list that he's been running for like quite a while. He's probably like an expert at it at this point. But it's like 11x and it's Tauntauns, like 3 of them. 3 vets with the gun, 3 MK2s, right? Those are the emplacement troopers. He's got Leia. He's got an FD. He's got tons of range 4 firepower, and then he's also got the mobility objectives down, right? So he's like doing everything that he wants to do. I think it's like crit 12 in total.
Yeah, something like that.
Critical 12. It's like kind of disgusting. So we landed on bombing run, advanced positions, war weary. So I think I talk about it on the show all the time, but no one ever gives me bombing run. So whenever I find another list that's really good at bombing run, I don't know what the hell to do. So I'm like, all right, this should be great. Ryan's a great dude, so he helps me out. I'm like, dude, this is like my actual like 4th or 5th game of bombing run, so you're gonna demolish me. So basically what happens is we deploy, and I also play I divulge the Super Attack 3 pip so I can get reinforcements to see where mainly his list is going. This time Kalani and the Droidekas have full knowledge of where he's like plopping down. He plops his Tauntauns in the center of advanced positions, and I'm like, all right, well, I couldn't think of another spot to go. So I go there with my Droidekas, right? So I plop in the center of mine. I probably should have plopped them down on the far right-hand side of my advanced positions and just run at him that way. It's away from his FD. It is away from his Tauntauns, like easiest direct route to score, and mainly away from his other vet guns, his vets and his Mark IIs. So also giving him advanced positions, because in turn 0 meant that he could scout up his MK2s into like really, really advantageous positions. So we'll get to that later. It was a really, really good deployment for him. Now I know this. It's like really, really good. But it was basically unacceptable to be read as hemmed in against his list. So I was like, nah, that's not really good for me. So anyways, we deploy, and there's a huge traffic jam of Droidekas. The traffic jam meaning like the Droidekas couldn't move past one another, and there was a gigantic kill box in front of them. So I was just basically like dumbfounded on what to do. So eventually I remembered what we agreed upon earlier, which was we're just going to push models and just die. I was like, cool. So that's what I did. I pushed my one Droideka up, and it just died immediately. I was like, great, cool. So I'm already down. I'm like, yep, I'm going to, I look up to him. I'm like, Ryan, I'm going to lose this game, but I'm going to go down fighting.
Nice.
So fight is what we did. He's not quite able to get a bomb off turn 1 with his Tauns, so thank goodness. And this leaves me some room, some wiggle room to try and like kill some Tauns while I'm like dealing with Tauns with bombs in my face. At the same time, his MK2s are set up in such a way, I've never seen this before. No one talks about this. So if you're a Rebel player, take notes. This is amazing. He plays Hold at Any Cost, which is a card I forgot about. So he's got all these standbys on his emplacements, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got 2 emplacements set up looking at my BXs very menacingly. Okay? Like, my BXs are gonna die. So he uses the standby because I trip it with one of the Droidekas, and he uses it to shoot 8 dice because it's fire supported by the other MK2. So using a standby, flips the face up token and just like tries to annihilate this BX droid. This BX droid's in heavy cover. This BX droid has 2 shields and a dodge. He gets 8 through.
Ooh.
Eight down to like 7 or 6 because it was a massive amount of crits. And then I save it all. And I was like, wow, that was insane. And Ryan goes, wow, you should play Red Save Armies. And I was like, yeah, maybe I should. Maybe I should. And then he does it again because he spends the other standby off the other MK and flips the other MKs, right? So he got 16 black dice thrown at this one BX. And I'm like, oh boy, I spent all my defensive tech. Let's see how this goes. Only 2 die.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, Ryan, I think I got away with murder here. And he goes, yeah, a little bit.
I gotta say, I've never heard of that strategy with that card before, and that's amazing.
It is so good. I was like, Ryan, I saw this happening to me in real time, and I was like, this is insane. I was like, oh god, this is so good. Like, you know, if they set it up right, it is devastating. It is so good. Oh man, I've never seen or heard of that.
No.
And I will never forget that. That was awesome, Ryan. And I'm so sorry those zombie BXs decided to live because I kept repairing them. They kept coming back. They were like, nope, we're good. They ended up with like something like 7 to 8 suppression at one point, and then like they rolled it mostly off, so they didn't really give a crap. Oh man, it was a wacky game of like bombing run. Nice. So long story short,
too late.
My stuff died. I almost got a droideka to score, but he kills it, and then he's able to claim it, so nothing happens. Ryan gets one bomb off and drops a couple others off. I'm able to kill his tauntauns and go claim those bombs for myself, and those don't go off. So then I have like this one B2 that's rushing towards his like lines, and he's got some good line of sight blocking. So the conclusion of the game is like there's a real chance like I could score depending on how well this one B2 model saves. So the conclusion of the game is my B2 is hiding behind a line of sight blocker, and that one bomb that I dropped off in his deployment zone that he went to go claim, he uses that one lone model rebel trooper vet that he claims it with, and he goes to move it towards my B2 model, and then he drops the bomb and decides to detonate it. So we basically have like one vet versus one B2. It's so funny. I roll his bomb, for blowing up. I get 2. Steve dies. Steve, the lonely vet trooper, dies, and then here comes the B2. He rolls 3. I lose 1 to armor, and I get no paint.
Oh.
But previously, this B2 was the man. He kept rolling saves like real hot. He lives way too long. But it was the mutual destruction that really, really sealed the game. I think this is hands down one of my favorite games of Legion ever. Ryan was a cool dude to play against. And 1-0 bombing run is such a silly score to end on.
I saw that.
That's usually unheard of.
And I couldn't wait to hear how in the world that
every time people came by to like, you guys are playing bombing run? Like, what turn is it? We're like, turn 4. Don't talk about it. It was so wacky. Like, there's so many swings. Like, oh man, my BX is saved so well. It was like kind of crazy. Yeah, I just need more practice on bombing run. If anyone wants to beat me, just play bombing run.
Same.
But anyways, I had a great time. Go check out the Stabcast if you don't know what I'm talking about. They do a Legion podcast. They're a great bunch of dudes. And I'm sure you'll hear Ryan talk about his games on his show as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because I think it was the game before he played you. He played Sam. So
yeah, he was saying he just lost to Sam before me.
His brain had to have been fried right before playing you.
Yeah. We both agreed beforehand. We were like, all right, the 4-1 bracket was so brutal. We're like, oh god, I don't want to play you. And then we paired up and we're like, hey, we're both dead. This is game 6 and we're not winning. We're not winning PAX. And I was like, Ryan, do you already have your invite? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, me too. Let's just have fun. We're just gonna have some wacky stuff happen.
Congrats to Ryan though with the strength of schedule. He did get second. So
that's right. He got second. Congrats to Ryan. Oh yeah. So PAX was great. Overall thoughts. I had a lot of fun. There were some unexpected lists out there. So we had Richard Laverty. He had an all Wookiee list.
Wookiee
from crit to block.
Yep.
Yeah. 8-act Wookiees just getting in the face. He made it to the finals against Sam. Mm-hmm. That's a list that I want to play. Like just all Wookiees.
That would be fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
I gotta give a shout out to Koray, the best CIS player at the tournament.
That's right.
10th overall.
10th, which is not bad.
Not bad at all. Out of 59? Great.
And I did it using droidekas.
Exactly.
So like that's saying something. Everyone says they're bad. They're really not bad, guys.
Well, considering the second place CIS list was 25th.
Yeah. I think he was also running experimentals.
I think he was.
But yeah, I mean like droids are in a weird spot. I don't think people really want to play them, but
Geonosians
experimental give you the dice though. They give you the dice and the tools to like break the game of Legion, right? So
yeah.
I dig it. I dig this Battle Force. Any other highlights for PAX for you, sir?
No, I had a load
we're
of
running
fun.
the show a little late here.
Played some great people. Got to play 4 new people. That's always great.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I love the most about tournaments. If I can play someone new, then I'm gonna have a great time.
Yeah, got to see a bunch of friends that we only get to see at tournaments. So that's always fun too.
Absolutely. As usual, shout out to Nick Bodnar. He basically ran the whole show. He set up all 32 tables. Those are all his, all beautifully painted, all beautifully set up. Judge Dave is always coming out to Nick's events to judge and help out. So that's great. And the lore continues.
I was going to say,
continues.
That was one of the most entertaining things ever.
So I'll quickly recount it again. Basically, this is like 20 to 25 games deep now. Every time Judge Dave is judging an event and he trash talks me during the game, I win. And then every time he gives me at least one compliment or, just buddy or just can't talk to me, I lose every single time. Every single time.
So we put it to the test this tournament.
Yeah.
So he intentionally avoided Koray for, I believe it was the Sam game.
Yeah, the Sam game and the Ryan Slawowski game.
It was
only
both
because
games?
he's a rebel. Yeah, he did that with Ryan too because Ryan's a Rebel player and Dave plays Rebels, so he wants Rebels to win.
Yeah.
I was like, no, how much more do I have to pay you? I'm just gonna. Oh, I don't know if you were there, Brendan. Well, basically, I said to Dave, I was like, Dave, if you trash talk me this entire tournament and I get flight accommodations to Chicago, I will pay for your flight ticket and I will pay for your Adepticon badge to come just harass me at Worlds. Oh man. Apparently he didn't like that. So he's like, nah, it's not gonna work. But yeah, PAX is awesome. It was a great time.
Yeah, I'm happy. I did make it into top 8 Empire, so I got a Palpatine card.
Woo! Congrats, sir.
Very, very happy about that. That was the real goal I wanted. So I got that.
Nice. And then I forgot. I also one of the main reasons I brought Droidicas is because I have these awesome energy shields painted on them, and I was trying to gun for like at least placing in best painted. And I was one of the 4 finalists for painting, so I got a cool C3PO, Golden God card. So that was cool.
Yeah, congrats.
That was very cool.
Your droids looked amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, like I had a lot of fun painting those energy shields on the Droidicas. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like I was barely 4th. There were a lot of crazy good looking armies there. The people that I podiumed with, like all of their models were like intensely awesome. There was just crazy models and like, fun explosions on a couple like dioramas and like, yeah, basically after talking to them, they basically said each base is a diorama. They treat it like that. And so I got to hear some of their cool perspectives on like how they paint. So I might have to up my basing work if I want to tell some cool stories.
That's more work than I'm willing to put into it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Once I think they look fine, I'm good. So
Yeah.
That's why I came up with simple basing solutions, so I don't have to think about it hard.
That's fair. Makes sense to
I
me.
put down glue, and then I sprinkle stuff on the base. Done!
I sprinkle stuff on. Yeah, that's fair.
I do have to say, there is one list I have to give a shout out to. And I don't know who the player is. And it's not somebody because it's not somebody I played. But there was somebody who brought a double saber tank, double secret mission list.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. So Mike Cirillo played against
Mike
him.
Cirillo played against him, and he did give a bit of a recount on the Notorious Scoundrels recent episode. So that's definitely worth a listen. But basically, try to kill 2 saber tanks that have 4 extra heals and can use Padme's dodges while they're line of sight blockers, and they can just march those extra 2 points to the other side.
Yep. That's basically a list archetype or idea that I've been like floating around in my head. So that's sweet to see it work.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know
It's-
how well it ended up doing, but it's nice to see somebody playing something so out of the box.
Something weird, right? Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff to experiment with, and
Yeah,
I
never
really
be afraid
think,
to experiment.
saber tanks are good. Yeah, saber tanks are good.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. Appreciate everyone listening. Go ahead and check out our socials. You know where they're at. If you are not already subscribed to our podcast, please do so. Leave a rating and review. That should really help us out. You know, all that fun social media stuff. And with that, let's close the show. I'm Koray.
I'm Brendan. I'm not going to play the lat for a little while because I've got new crazy ideas to try.
Gasp. Stay glorious, everyone.